very random kind of thing that happened, and the fact that I work in a building where there's a man who potentially could have the cure to Duchenne is tremendous.
Patrick Gunning is a researcher at the University of Toronto, where Andrew works. Andrew attended a talk which mentioned the research that Patrick was doing, and from what he's told me, he's kind of the rock star of researchers at University of Toronto.
How I met Andrew and Max Big Ride was very fluky. We were discussing our research in the corridor and he said, "Would you be interested in looking at developing drugs for Duchenne?" And I said, "Well, we're typically oncology based and I don't think that the targets that we make drugs for are involved in Duchenne." I asked my graduate student Yasser to investigate whether STAT proteins in particular were involved in Duchenne, and lo and behold, just a year previous there'd been 2 papers published in Nature Medicine, which is one of the top research papers in the world, actually highlighted STAT3's terrible role in Duchenne.
So I'd definitely heard of muscular dystrophy before, but not Duchenne. And when the doctors told us about it, they said, "Don't Google it." But being the person I am, I Googled it, and just tears your life apart. I was unable to sleep.
We knew that it was bad news. To be told that your beautiful 2-year-old at the time has a disease that has no cure, and they told me he would live to his 3rd or 4th decade, was absolutely devastating beyond words. But the one piece of good news is that there is lots of research happening, and that gave us hope.
A few days into it, we just went on a family trip to the museum, and I remember in the gift shop seeing a card that said, "Falling down is part of life, but getting up is living." It really responded to me, it resonated with me, and I think that's kind of the attitude that we've adopted, from that point forward. You have to fight, and we're determined as a family to do so, to try and beat this.
He came up with the idea for Max's Big Ride. He worked away largely by himself on this idea, and he decided to ride across Canada, which was quickly determined that was quite crazy because it was just way too far. So he worked out the route between Hamilton and Ottawa, which is 600 kilometres, with Max riding in the front of the cargo bike. And it's been a really, really positive experience for our family.
Ottawa is a symbolic destination because of the decisions that might be made by Health Canada that could affect children with Duchenne. So we decided we would ride from Ottawa home. And I sold Max on the idea by saying we would ride from ice cream shop to ice cream shop. Like, he has no idea where Ottawa is or how long the distance is, and he was understandably very excited to ride from ice cream shop to ice cream shop, and that's really how it was born.
That ride raised over $13,000. For us, this was a great way to start, and at that time we thought, why don't we apply for a major grant from Jesse's Journey? So we did that, and we got a $300,000 grant, which is now really enabling the preclinical investigation of STAT inhibitors in Duchenne disease.
Once I did Max's Big Ride with Andrew, and I actually saw Max, and I saw the community, and I saw the people around us, it was a very eye-opening experience, because as a researcher, we're usually in the lab. It's very rare that we get to see what we do have an impact. So yeah, my motivation is just all the young children that have Duchenne, and if I can do anything, 1% that I can do to try to push this a little bit more, maybe 5 years later someone pushes it more, and hopefully we live in a world soon where Duchenne is something that is normal and we can cure it.
When we started this, the goal was just to not give up and just to fight, and I guess to see where it would take us. And I really just wanted to raise money for research and to raise awareness so people would know about Duchenne. I never really imagined we'd be in a position where we'd be influencing the research of professors like Patrick. So this is inconceivable, and the fact that it happened is so random, and it really makes me feel optimistic. Like, I don't tend to get excited about the things that we may have accomplished along the way, but this is the one thing that I really feel very optimistic, and it's really exciting. And it just happened a year ago, and there's been so much progress in this 1 year. If it continues like this, it's hard not to be excited about it.